Here I am trying to decide what my next scenario for Stellar Horizons 2 is going to be. I kind of feel like I should do a combat scenario, although combat isn't that complex. I also feel like maybe I should do something with the trade elements, but the only one that has it doesn't terribly impress me with that. So anyway, I've worked my way through here. Altarian Strain is one where players are, I think the trade things are being used for different reasons. Like, no, the exploration marker is being used for it. Okay. To represent an outbreak, and you're hunting it down and trying to squish a disease, and it's a cooperative game. Doesn't really feel like that's going to prep me for the campaign game, and the campaign game is why I have this. To me, these additional scenarios are really just things to add more interest to the box of neat stuff you have, right? Like, hey, this is a big game. If I'm going to carry this with me, to visit someplace or whatever, or have it take up this much space, it's kind of cool that it has a lot of different flavors to it, just totally different scenarios, right? But from my point of view, it's not, it's not like I'm trying to hunt down something to do that's kind of a short game with these components. But it's kind of neat to do these different things. It reminds me very much of the SFB scenarios that were like not the core game. Okay, the next one's the Void, which is you're trying to. This one uses the trade goods. You're trying to create a Noah's Ark type situation where you're trying to haul goods to send off to another place before this part of the galaxy starts disappearing. Again, interesting. It's a cooperative one, not going to have combat. Use the trade goods, but not at all in the way that they're used in the campaign game. So I'm like, well, they're the flora and fauna you're trying to put on top on the Celestial Ark. We hit Search and Destroy, which is one where it will have combat, sort of, kind of. It's the Syndicate is out of control, and the main players have decided to gang up on him, but the only way they can do it is with assassin probes. Well, probes don't actually have combat, and this is really a kind of a hunt down someone and hit them with a probe and kill them. Again, it's not going to help me at all in prepping for the campaign. It's another flavor. Scramble for the Future. An artifact's been found at a dig. It's a key piece of technology. This is a treasure hunt. You're given a clue, and it tells you which next planet to go to, and you seek out the clue there. And it's not like you're doing any kind of puzzle solving or anything like that. It's just a follow a path going from one place to another. Doesn't sound terribly interesting to me. And now we're down to one. And now I'm beginning to think, okay, we'll jump into the campaign game. Well, this one is humanity doesn't really become humanity. The agricultural revolution never took off, so humanity is still a nomadic species swinging stone tools. But it's a two-player game with combat where two other races are working to get control over humanity. And you'll be using specifically the Syndicate. This uses the same map as I just used. You'll be using the Syndicate starting at 18 Scorpii, over here, and the Praetorians starting at 72 Hercules. And these are enemy alien empires. Neither can enter the other starting systems. Add 50 settlement markers to their starting systems. Ships can only be built or repaired in these systems and with no capacity limit. Exploration markers will be everywhere else, including on Sol, which gets a biomarker. Normally, Sol doesn't have an exploration value. No exploration can be conducted, but if there are no enemies in a system during the exploration phase, remove a point from the exploration marker for each 5 points of exploration value in the system. So if your ships show up, they'll have, an exploration value on them. You add that up. Each 5 allows you to knock a marker off the chit. At the start of the turn, either player can build an outpost or a 1 settlement marker in any system that doesn't have an exploration marker. You've fully explored it already, and is adjacent to one of their existing outposts or starting system. So they have to chain their systems one by one. They must have a ship in the system, and each outpost costs $10 billion. Ships can only move up to 1 system away from either their starting system or a chain of outposts leading to their starting system. This is going to be just a simple race because of this, but remember, there's combat. Destroy any outpost at the end of a turn if there's only enemy ships in the system. It's only the starting system you can't enter on the enemy's stuff. So there's no wiping someone out of the game by doing that. Outposts don't otherwise count for combat, repair, etc. So they're not like bases normally are in the game. And other bases can't be built. Each player starts with 30 billion, and they get 10 billion and a new initiative roll at the start of each even-numbered decade. If you remove the exploration marker from Sol, you win. Geez, I don't know. Is all that worth it for the combat rolls? Like, the only thing I'm adding, so this doesn't feel like the game either, right? This is something where I'm just sending pieces out to reduce the values. I think I'm going to jump right to the campaign because this just doesn't have enough of the game mechanisms in it, right? The only thing it has is combat. Combat's got a little bit of funkiness to it with the, oh look, I do 3, I get a 0.3 modifier to my die roll, but it just isn't really impressing me. So anyway, I think I'm going to load this up simply for the, hey look, I figured out I'm not going to do a scenario. I'm going to do the campaign. Because I don't want this to be the beginning of my campaign discussion intro. Oh, sure, why not? Okay. So we'll get into the campaign rolls in that case. I'll be back in a moment because I'm definitely going to have to recharge for this many pages. And I probably won't get through it all because it's Friday during the day. I've got Raid playing itself because there's a big event and I got to spend lots of energy during this and whatever. But I also really don't want to be sitting there just listening to Putin's dream or whatever it is.